For as long as I can remember, I've been a huge fan of the NBA draft. I love seeing how teams evaluate these young prospects, and everyone's so optimistic that they're getting the missing piece to push their franchise to the next level. But you can do all the evaluation you want, but there's no telling how a player will fare at the next level and on a certain team. Because of that, I like to look back at previous drafts and see how teams got it right or got it completely wrong. If these GMs and owners actually knew how good a player could become, how differently would the draft go? Today we're doing a redraft of the 2018 NBA draft, one that has produced several young stars like Luka Doncic and Trae Young, and a lot of players that are key rotation pieces on their respective teams. But before we get into it, I got a couple of guidelines for my redraft. First, we're redrafting only the top 10 picks. Next, it's not a player ranking, so the fifth best player might not be the number 5 overall pick. It has to make sense fit-wise and need-wise for each team. For example, if I have a franchise point guard, I'm not going to draft 2 point guards in the lottery in back-to-back seasons. Well, unless you're the Kings, but y'all get what I'm saying. Next, these teams don't know their future draft picks, free agent signings, or trades. For example, the Grizzlies don't know they're drafting Ja Morant the following season. The Sixers don't know that they're trading for Jimmy Butler in November. They only know how the careers have played out for each prospect through their first 5 seasons. And last, no draft day trades. So the Hawks keep the number 3 pick, the Mavs keep the number 5 pick, and the Sixers keep the number 10 pick. Without further ado, the 2018 NBA redraft is underway. First up is the Phoenix Suns, a team at the bottom of the Western Conference hoping to strike gold and create a dynamic duo with their young rising star Devin Booker. Other than at shooting guard, every position can be upgraded. The Suns were one of the lowest scoring teams in the league and were last in 3-point percentage and bottom 5 in assists, so some perimeter shooting and playmaking would be ideal. They drafted DeAndre Ayton in this spot, but let's see who the Suns take at number 1 in the redraft.
With the first pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Phoenix Suns select Luka Doncic from Ljubljana, Slovenia, and Real Madrid.
Let's be real, Luka's the obvious pick here. He's easily the best player in this draft class. 4-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA, and he's already discussed as a top 5 player through just 5 seasons. His shot creating skills and his ability to create for others is another big reason why I'd see Phoenix taking Luka at number 1. With the first pick, you'd hope to land a future superstar, so the Suns will have to be hyped to get that in Luka. The roster still has a lot of work to do, but bro, just imagine that 1-2 punch of Devin Booker and Luka. Next up, we've got the Kings at 2. Sacramento was the lowest scoring team in the league and played it at a pace that was simply too slow. I think they could use a 3-level scorer, some more playmaking, and someone that can push the tempo and actually hang with De'Aaron Fox. Marvin Bagley was the pick here, but let's see what the Kings do.
With the second pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Sacramento Kings select Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from Hamilton, Canada, and the University of Kentucky.
In hindsight, the Kings will be very happy with this pick. SGA is versatile enough to play either guard position and has evolved so much since entering the league. Last season was a bit of a breakout season for him as he put up huge scoring numbers and notched his first All-Star selection. I expect him to be a perennial All-Star moving forward. SGA in Sacramento would speed up that offense and take a lot of pressure off of De'Aaron Fox to be the primary ball handler. The Hawks are up at 3. The Hawks are in a weird spot with a lot of random pieces, no identity, and simply lacking a star. I don't think they could go wrong with whoever they pick as long as it's the best available and they're able to build around them. The Hawks drafted Luka at number 3 and traded him to Dallas for Trae Young and a first-round pick. But with Luka off the board, where do they go?
With the third pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Trae Young from the University of Oklahoma.
The Hawks still get their guy at number 3 with Trae Young. Trae brings a lot of star power and bravado with them, and I think it was perfect to jumpstart the franchise. He's a 2-time All-Star and is really coming to his own as a floor general. He's led the Hawks to the playoffs a couple times, even making the Eastern Conference Finals in 2021. I'm sure the Hawks would sign up for the chance to draft Trae all over again. The Grizzlies have the 4th pick. These are no longer the grit and grind Grizzlies of the past, but we're still holding on to a couple key pieces in Mike Conley and Marc Gasol. Gasol was 33 and Conley was 30 and played only 12 games all season. So I'd say it's time to go full rebuild. I think replacing Mike Conley should be the priority, but getting more athletic in the front court would also be beneficial. The Grizzlies drafted reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Jaren Jackson Jr. with this pick, but would they do it again?
With the 4th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Memphis Grizzlies select
Jalen Brunson from Villanova University.
Jalen Brunson is a player that cracked the top 5 in this draft class about a year and a half ago for me. He was fantastic in the Mavericks playoff run in 2022, and all he did was get better and show out as the leader of the Knicks, averaging 24 points per game and 6 assists per game. He doesn't have the accolades yet, and he was an all-star snub last year, but I expect him to get some selections in the near future. I think his gritty play and strong leadership would make him the perfect point guard to follow behind Mike Conley and become the next franchise player after Marc Gasol. The Mavs are up next at 5, and they're in a tough spot as Dirk is at the end of his career. The roster actually isn't that bad, but they have some glaring weaknesses defensively, particularly protecting the rim. The Mavs drafted Trae Young and traded for Luka here, but with both of them off the board, which direction does Dallas go?
With the 5th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Dallas Mavericks select Jaren Jackson Jr. from Michigan State University.
Jaren Jackson Jr. is the pick here. He's not the franchise player you'd hope to get as a top 5 pick, but I think he'd bring a lot of value to the Mavs and fill a big position in need. Offensively, Triple J's ability to shoot makes him an intriguing option by being able to space the floor. But defensively, he's intimidating as well. He's big enough to guard centers and quick enough to guard power forwards and can switch on the pick and roll. And good luck challenging this Defensive Player of the Year at the rim. I think Dallas will be a perfect fit because there's enough offense where he doesn't have to be the number 1 option, but he can also continue being a defensive star on the other end of the court. The Orlando Magic are at 6. Similar to the Hawks, there's no real identity with this team. Nikola Vucevic is the best player, but he isn't good enough to be the cornerstone franchise player on a good team. Should replacing Vucevic be the priority, or should it be finding a permanent fixture along the perimeter? Mo Bamba was the number 6 pick, but let's see who it is now.
With the 6th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Orlando Magic select Mikal Bridges from Villanova University.
For a team that's kind of stuck in mediocrity, I think Mikal Bridges is a great pick at this spot. He's quickly becoming one of the NBA's best two-way players, and he's showing that he can take on the task as the primary scorer as well. After being traded to the Nets last season, Bridges averaged 26 points per game on almost 48% shooting and just under 38% from 3. He's got franchise player potential, and at worst, he's a core rotation piece that you can rely on for scoring and excellent defense. The Bulls have the 7th pick, and they're trying to find pieces to build around Zach LaVine. Outside of LaVine and Lauri Markkanen, I believe every other position is in pretty big need of an upgrade. The Bulls were a bottom 5 team in both offense and defense, with shooting percentage and rim protection being some of their biggest woes. Wendell Carter Jr. was the number 7 pick here. Do they draft a center again?
With the 7th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Chicago Bulls select DeAndre Ayton from Nassau, Bahamas, and the University of Arizona.
So the Bulls draft a center again, but this time it's Ayton. He's skilled and can make an impact on both ends of the floor, but questions about his motor drop him down to 7. Unlike in Phoenix with Devin Booker and Chris Paul, I think DeAndre Ayton is good enough to be etched in as a consistent scoring option next to LaVine and Markkanen, and he'd have a real opportunity to cash in on all the potential that we saw from him coming out of Arizona. The Cavs are at 8. They just made the finals for the 4th straight year, but it's widely believed that we just saw the last of LeBron in Cleveland, and he's an unrestricted free agent. With LeBron gone, the team's whole identity is gone. They could really use a building block that could at least become a good piece to build around. Colin Sexton was the number 8 pick, but is that still the case here?
With the 8th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Michael Porter Jr. from the University of Missouri.
Michael Porter Jr. could be a steal at this spot. The only reason he's available here is due to injuries, so that's a huge concern. But he came into the NBA as an elite scorer, and we've seen flashes throughout his career, even as a third option with the Denver Nuggets. He's never had the chance to be the number one option, so you wonder how much more he could do if given the opportunity. With the covered bear in Cleveland, he'd have the prime opportunity to carry the mantle as a franchise player. He's missed a lot of games, but I think the Cavs are in the best position to take a big swing and see what happens. The Knicks are up at number 9, another team just in a weird spot. Kristaps Porzingis just made his first All-Star appearance, but he's also recovering from a torn ACL. They have some decent pieces in Tim Hardaway Jr. and Enes Freedom, but nothing that moves the needle. And the jury is still out on Frank Ntilikina, last season's top 10 pick. At number 9, can the Knicks find another piece to hopefully build that franchise back up? The pick here was Kevin Knox, but New York definitely goes in a different direction here.
With the 9th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the New York Knicks select Anthony Simons from Altamont Springs, Florida.
Anthony Simons looked like he might not develop into much through his first 3 seasons, but now he's one of the brightest young stars in the league, averaging 21 points per game last season. He shoots a lot of threes, but he shoots almost 39% from behind the arc for his career. He's not much of a floor general, but he can fill the point guard spot and provide plenty of offense and even rotate to the shooting guard. Adding Simons will help solidify that guard spot in the starting lineup. And the 10th pick belongs to the Sixers. Philly's probably in the best spot out of all these teams, coming off a 52-30 record behind their rising stars Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. Their roster doesn't really have any big weaknesses, but they could definitely benefit by adding another player that could actually create their own shot. I'd say Embiid is the only shot creator, while all of their shooters rely on Joel and Ben to get them open looks. It'd be good to have a true second scoring option for when the offense breaks down. The Sixers drafted Mikal Bridges here, but traded him to Phoenix for Zaire Smith. With Bridges off the board, where does Philly go?
With the 10th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select
Gary Trent Jr. from Duke University.
So I thought a lot about Miles Bridges here at 10, but I think Gary Trent Jr. to Philly makes the most sense. A career 38% three-point shooter, his spot-up shooting would be valuable to their offense. But he's also evolved as a shot creator through 5 seasons. He still has a lot to work on as far as his efficiency goes, but I think he adds a new wrinkle to what's already a top 10 offense in the NBA at that time. He's also formidable defensively, so grabbing one of the better two-way players in the draft at number 10 overall should be considered a big win for the Sixers. Aside from the all-star caliber players, the 2018 draft produced a lot of good players that didn't make the list. Some honorable mentions here are Wendell Carter Jr., Kevin Huerter, Miles Bridges, Bruce Brown, and Robert Williams, who also came from this class, but didn't quite break the top 10 at my redraft. But I want to hear from you guys. Drop your thoughts in the comments and let me know what your top 10 would be. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. If you like this content, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. That really helps me continue to grow the channel and provide the content y'all are looking for. I'll have some more What Happened To videos coming up next that I'm really excited about, and I can't wait to bring them to you guys. I'm Sid the Kid, and I'm out.